Bill Gates went to one of the only high schools in the entire world that had a computer in 1968. Out of 303 million people in America, only about 300 students went to that school. One of his classmates, a guy just as talented, just as brilliant, died in a mountaineering accident before he could ever build anything. His name was Kent Evans. You've never heard of him. Was Bill Gates successful because of skill or because of luck? And is there even a difference? This is Chapter 2 of the Psychology of Money, Luck, and Risk. Here's the central idea of this chapter, and once you understand it, you'll never look at success or failure the same way again. Luck and risk are siblings. They are both the reality that every outcome in life is guided by forces other than individual effort. They are so similar that you can't believe in one without also respecting the other. But here's the problem. As a society, we don't treat them equally. When someone succeeds, we say, "Wow, they worked hard, they were smart, they made great decisions." When someone fails, we say they were lazy, they were stupid, they made bad choices. We give too much credit to individual effort and success, and too much blame to individual effort and failure, and we almost completely ignore the role of luck and risk. Morgan Housel's point is simple but powerful. Nothing is as good or as bad as it seems. Every success has some luck in it. Every failure has some risk in it. And the sooner you accept that, the better your decisions become. Let's look at our first story, Bill Gates and the Lakeside School. Let's go deeper into the Bill Gates story because it perfectly illustrates this idea. The year is 1968. Bill Gates is 13 years old. He enrolls at Lakeside School in Seattle. Now, Lakeside wasn't just any school. It was one of the only schools on the planet that had a computer terminal. In 1968, when most universities didn't even have computers. Why? Because a group of parents at the school had pooled money from a rummage sale to buy a teletype Model 33 terminal. A rummage sale. That one decision changed the history of technology. Gates himself has said, and this is his direct quote, "If there had been no Lakeside, there would have been no Microsoft." Now, does that mean Bill Gates isn't smart? Of course not. He's incredibly brilliant. He worked insanely hard. He dropped out of Harvard to bet everything on his vision. All of that is true. But, and this is the important part, there were other kids just as smart. They just didn't go to a school with a computer in 1968. Their talent never got the opportunity to show itself. Let's look at our second story, the story you have never heard, the story of Kent Evans. And here's the part of the story that breaks my heart. Bill Gates had a close friend at Lakeside named Kent Evans. Kent was just as passionate about computers, just as smart, just as ambitious. Gates himself has said Kent would have been extremely successful, but Kent Evans died in a mountaineering accident in high school. He never got to graduate, never got to start a company, never got to see what computers would become. The same force that gave Bill Gates incredible luck, being at Lakeside, gave Kent Evans incredible risk. A random accident on a mountain. That's it. That's the difference. Luck and risk are like two sides of the same coin. One became the richest man in the world. The other became a story almost no one knows. And the gap between them wasn't talent or hard work. It was luck and risk. Let's see another example. Think about two kids born in 1985. One is born in big city to an upper middle class family. He gets good education, access to the internet by 2000, a computer at home, parents who understand the importance of coding. By 2005, he's working at an IT company. By 2010, he's in the US or building a startup. Now think about another kid, born the same year, same IQ, same curiosity, but in a small village. No internet, no computer. The nearest school is 40 kilometers away. His parents are farmers who need him to help during harvest season. 20 years later, one of them might be a tech founder. The other might still be struggling to find stable employment. Is the first one smarter? More hardworking? No. He just got luckier with where he was born. And here's the flip side risk. How many promising entrepreneurs launched their startups right before COVID in 2020? Their business failed not because the idea was bad or they were incompetent, but because risk showed up at the worst possible time. Luck and risk. You can't control either, but you have to respect both. Now here's where this gets really practical, because this isn't just a philosophical idea. It directly affects how you handle money. Morgan warns us about two traps. Trap 1 is hero worship. When we see someone like Elon Musk or Mukesh Ambani or Warren Buffett, we study their every move. We try to copy their strategy. We read their biographies and think, if I do exactly what they did, I'll get similar results. But here's the problem. You're studying the survivors. You're not seeing the thousands of people who did similar things and failed. This is called survivorship bias. For every Bill Gates who dropped out of college and became a billionaire, there are thousands who dropped out and went nowhere. You just never hear their stories. So when you copy a billionaire's strategy, you might actually be copying the part that was luck, not skill. Trap 2 is blaming failure entirely on the person. The second trap is the opposite. When someone fails, a business goes bankrupt, an investor loses money, a startup shuts down, we immediately judge them. They must have been reckless. They must have made bad decisions. Sometimes that's true, but sometimes they did everything right and risk just showed up. A pandemic, a policy change, a market crash, a partner who cheated them. If you don't respect the role of risk, you'll be too harsh on others and too confident in yourself. You'll think, that won't happen to me because I'm smarter. And that arrogance is exactly when risk hits the hardest. Here is what I have learned from this teachings. This chapter really humbled me because I'll be honest, I used to look at successful people and think it was all about their hard work and intelligence. And I used to look at people who were struggling and think, why don't they just work harder? But after reading this, I realized how narrow that thinking is. Think about your own life. Think about one good thing that happened to you. Maybe you got into a good college. Maybe you got a great job. Maybe you met the right mentor at the right time. How much of that was your doing and how much was just the situation you happened to be in? And think about one bad thing, a project that failed, an investment that went wrong, a job you lost. Was it entirely your fault or were there forces beyond your control? The honest answer is always, it was a mix. And accepting that mix is what makes you wiser with money. Because when you accept that luck played a role in your success, you become more humble, more grateful, less likely to take insane risks thinking you're invincible. And when you accept that risk played a role in your failures, you become more compassionate, less likely to give up, more willing to try again. Remember, success is equal to skill plus luck, and failure is equal to mistakes plus risk. Okay, so what do you actually do with this information? I say 3 things. First is, be careful who you admire. Don't blindly follow the strategy of someone successful. Instead of asking, what did this billionaire do? Ask, what did thousands of people do similarly, and why did only this one succeed? The answer often involves luck. Second is, build a margin of safety. Since you know that risk is real and unpredictable, always keep a buffer. Emergency fund, diversified investments. Don't put everything on one bet, no matter how sure you feel, because risk doesn't care about your confidence. Third is, judge yourself and others more gently. Not every failure deserves blame. Not every success deserves a pedestal. Life is more random than we'd like to admit. The best you can do is make good decisions and accept that even good decisions sometimes lead to bad outcomes. And that's chapter 2 of The Psychology of Money, Luck and Risk. The invisible twins that shape every financial outcome but rarely get the credit or the blame they deserve. In the next video, we're covering chapter 3, Never Enough. It's about the one mistake that has destroyed more rich people than any stock market crash ever could. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. If this video gave you a new perspective, smash that like button, subscribe if you haven't already, and tell me in the comments. What's one moment in your life where luck or risk played a bigger role than you initially thought? I'll see you in the next one.